3 men just slapped my wife, fake cops with tactical vests and dollar store badges, and they have no idea who they're dealing with. They called it HOA enforcement. I call it assault. One of them hit Julia across the face for recording them, and the sound cracked through our quiet Florida neighborhood like a warning shot. 15 years of marriage, and I've never felt rage like this. White hot, choking, surgical. Here's what these clowns don't understand. Some husbands are more dangerous than others. I stepped outside, and their cocky swagger drained away. This whole suburban nightmare started on what should have been an ordinary Tuesday morning. Our neighborhood looked like a brochure, palms swaying in rhythm, lawns trimmed to military precision, notices showing up with the punctuality of German trains. Julia, my wife, a schoolteacher with more backbone than most Marines I served with, was kneeling by the tulips when she spotted a bright yellow violation notice plastered on our fence. The Florida sun burned down as she read aloud. Fence too high, 2 inches over regulation. Flag display, unapproved military memorabilia. Compliance required in 72 hours. From the kitchen window, I sipped my coffee, thinking, 3 deployments in Afghanistan, and now I'm fighting people with rulers and rulebooks. At least insurgents told you up front they wanted to kill you. Julia, sharp as ever, pulled out her phone. Document everything, she always says. Smart woman. That's when the enforcers showed up. 2 men strutted across our lawn in tactical cosplay, vests screaming Army surplus clearance rack. The tall one, Vince, looked like a nightclub bouncer whose zipper was losing the battle against his gut. His partner, Tony, was all muscle and bad attitude, his badge pinned so crooked it made real cops cry. Ma'am, stop recording enforcement action immediately. Vince barked, his voice more frat party than drill sergeant. Tony flexed like he was auditioning for a bar fight. Their patches said compliance, not police. Enough said. Julia kept filming. Evidence, not fear. Then it happened. Tony slapped her. Her phone flew into the grass but kept recording. The screen cracked like a spiderweb. Julia stumbled back, hand on her cheek, eyes wide, not from pain, but from shock. Who expects to get hit by fake cops over fence height? That's when the switch flipped in me. The same one that saved my life overseas. The same one that makes enemies regret their choices. The screen door slammed. I stepped out, Marine Corps shirt, jeans, nothing fancy, but every line of my body told the truth. Predator, not prey. I'm a Navy SEAL, I said, voice calm, almost casual. You just assaulted my wife. Bad decision. My weight balanced, my hands loose at my sides, ready. They didn't recognize the tone, but combatants overseas had. Vince charged, sloppy and wild. I pivoted and he tripped hard, smashing his face against the steps. Blood everywhere. His phone tumbled onto the lawn. Tony swung a telegraphed haymaker. I ducked. He stumbled backward into the sprinkler system, jaw cracking on impact. Now he was drooling gibberish, trying to say, "You're under arrest." Both of them were crying. Vince's vest split open, revealing a t-shirt that read "World's Greatest Dad." Irony at its finest. I dialed 911. This is Chuck Morgan, 1523 Palmetto Drive. 2 men just assaulted my wife during an illegal home invasion. Send police and EMS. Then I saw it, Vince's phone glowing in the grass. The text message notification. Boss lady, use force if needed. Timestamp, 2 minutes before they showed up. Julia, still recording despite her swollen cheek, caught the evidence on video. That message would change everything. Neighbors peeked out, Agnes behind her lace curtains, Carl gripping a wrench, Mrs. Rodriguez frozen with her watering can. Sirens closed in. Julia touched her cheek, eyes fierce despite the bruise. That's my husband, she whispered, pride in her voice. But I knew this wasn't over. Someone ordered this attack, someone named Jennifer Allen. If she planned this, what else was coming? The next morning, 0600 sharp, I was at the kitchen table. Laptop. Sunlight cutting prison bar shadows through the blinds. Julia's bruise was a reminder. Ray Delgado, retired cop and neighbor, showed up in cargo shorts and a Hawaiian shirt. He glanced at Julia's cheek and muttered, Jesus, Chuck. These idiots left more evidence than a bank robbery. Ray knew the game. Community compliance group, he said. Hired muscle. Bad record. They're no enforcement agency, they're thugs in vests. Together we dug into license plates, records, reviews. Their website looked like a high school project. Yelp reviews read like comedy, showed up drunk to noise complaint. Stole my sandwich. Clogged my toilet. Meanwhile, Julia worked her magic on Agnes, the lonely neighbor. Over tea and cookies, Agnes whispered, Jennifer keeps a notebook. Tracks debts. Fines. Calls it her control system. Carl Mitchell already owes $2,500. She's filed a lien notice. He's terrified. When Carl came by, his handshake was firm but sweaty. His eyes gave him away. Chuck, you did right protecting Julia, he said, but when Ray mentioned liens, Carl choked on his words. He was trapped. Ray pulled up bank records, spreadsheets. She's running a police state, he said. Dues go to private muscle, intimidation, consultants. It's systematic. Then Ray mentioned a new wrinkle. Funny thing, got a friend request in our vet group yesterday. Guy named Greg. Claims he knows Jennifer's methods. Wants to connect. My instincts lit up. Coincidence? Not a chance. A quick records search revealed the truth. Jennifer Allen married Gregory Lamb in 1998. Divorced 2021. He now lived one subdivision over, walking distance. Close enough to watch. Close enough to know. And if he wanted to talk, it meant Jennifer's secrets went deeper than we thought. Agnes's quiet confession lit the fuse. I've heard Jennifer on phone calls with someone named Greg, she admitted, voice low like a spy passing state secrets. Always about money. Always furious. Especially when she rants about military types who think they're untouchable. I thought he was just an old friend. But when she says his name, it's different, like he's the one thing she can't control. The puzzle pieces clicked into place. Jennifer wasn't just a power-drunk HOA tyrant with too much time on her hands. She was a woman with baggage, an ex-husband named Greg Lamb, a man close enough to know her secrets and angry enough to possibly weaponize them. Carl was trembling under the weight of $2,500 in fines. Agnes was worn out from spying. And somewhere across town, Greg was watching, waiting like a predator circling its prey. That afternoon, Ray's phone buzzed. A known number. Ray Delgado? Yes. This is Greg Lamb. We need to discuss our mutual Jennifer problem. The voice was gravel and steel, combat-worn, unshakable. I've been tracking her for months. Documenting everything. What happened to your neighbor's wife? That was the last straw. Time to end this. That night, I stood at the kitchen window, staring at Carl's house. His lights burned late, a beacon of fear. Julia's hands massaged my shoulders, her presence grounding me. What are you thinking? She asked. I'm thinking Greg knows Jennifer better than anyone. He lives one subdivision over, close enough to watch her every move. He's in our veteran groups, probing for information. The question is, does he want to take her down, or finish what she started with us? The next morning, Jennifer shifted tactics. No fists. No fake cops. Just psychological warfare. Agnes played the unwilling messenger at the mailbox cluster, her audience of neighbors leaning in for gossip. Jennifer's concerned about Chuck's episodes, she whispered. She says military men sometimes struggle. They could be dangerous. Mrs. Rodriguez folded her arms. Nonsense. I saw everything. Chuck warned those men before defending himself. But Mrs. Kim stepped back, uncertainty flickering in her eyes. Jennifer's poison was working, turning me from protector to potential threat in the minds of neighbors. It was insurgent tactics all over again, except instead of roadside bombs, she planted whispers. Instead of detonators, she used fear. By afternoon, Agnes broke. She showed up at my door, hands shaking around a manila envelope, eyes swollen from a night of conscience versus survival. I can't do it anymore, she said. I've been helping her hurt families. No more. Inside, gold. Photographs of Jennifer's black notebook, every page time-stamped like classified intel. Violation codes. fine amounts. And in bold, pressure points. $500 for a purple mailbox. $300 for a flag 2 inches too high. $75 for Ray's dog barking 1 minute past curfew. And then Carl Mitchell. $2,500 deck violations. Leverage opportunity. Lien filed. Subject shows high compliance potential under financial pressure. Julia leaned over my shoulder. Chuck, this isn't HOA management. This is target assessment. That night's community meeting wasn't business as usual. The room buzzed like a barracks before deployment. Carl stood tall, voice steady, declaring. Chuck Morgan showed restraint. He's a good man. I support him fully. Applause echoed. But I watched Carl's eyes. The sweat. The darting glances toward Jennifer's empty chair. His words were brave. His body betrayed terror. Julia filmed everything, teacher instincts sharp as ever. Evidence first, justice second. Ray added his authority, breaking down my response to the attack step by step, textbook perfect. The crowd nodded. Support swelled. But when Carl approached me afterward, I saw the resignation in his eyes, the look of a soldier forced into a no-win choice. His words said loyalty. His eyes said surrender. Ray pulled me aside later, face grim. Last page of the notebook Agnes photographed. Different handwriting. Aggressive. Masculine. It reads, Phase 2. If legal fails, escalate pressure. GL backup plan ready. Gregory Lamb. Jennifer's ex suddenly, her unshakable confidence made sense. She had reinforcements. Sleep was impossible. Julia voiced what haunted me. What if Carl can't hold? What if fear wins when it matters most? The next morning, Polk County Courthouse. Marble floors echoing footsteps. Fluorescent lights humming like wasps. Julia in a red dress, steady as a soldier's wife. Me in my navy suit. And then Carl walked in. Straight to Jennifer's side. Whispers spread like wildfire. Betrayal burns fast. When sworn in, his hands shook so badly the bailiff steadied the Bible. He never looked at me. Never at Julia. Just fixed his eyes on the wall. Your Honor, he began, voice cracking with rehearsed pain, Chuck Morgan threatened me. He said if I didn't support him, he'd treat me like those security officers. I have kids. I can't lose my house over $2,500. When Mrs. Allen offered relief in exchange for honesty, I had to tell the truth. Gasps rippled through the gallery. Perfect theater. A terrified neighbor painting me as a weaponized veteran. But Julia had recorded the meeting. His own words, clear as daylight. Ray rose. Commanding. Your Honor, may we play the recording? Carl's voice filled the courtroom. Chuck Morgan showed remarkable restraint. I fully support him. His face collapsed in real time. Sweat. Shame. Desperation. Ray dropped the hammer. Agnes's photos. Carl's debt circled in Jennifer's handwriting. Leverage opportunity. Compliance expected. Judge Martinez leaned forward, glasses sliding down her nose. Mr. Mitchell, you contradicted yourself under oath. Were you lying then, or are you lying now? Carl broke. Tears welled. I'm sorry, he whispered. And that's when the whole room turned on Jennifer. Allen offered to forgive my debt if I testified that Chuck threatened me. Carl finally admitted, voice cracking. I was going to lose my house, Your Honor. My kids' school, their friends, everything. The gallery fell silent. Judge Martinez's expression shifted from skepticism to outright disgust. She leaned forward. This court takes perjury very seriously, Mr. Mitchell. However, given the financial coercion involved, I am inclined toward leniency if you cooperate fully with the investigation. Carl collapsed in the witness chair, face buried in his hands, sobbing like a broken man. Julia, I'm so sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. I couldn't lose my kids' home. It wasn't forgiveness he begged for, it was survival. Every person in that courtroom could see the trap Jennifer had laid. Betray your neighbors or lose everything. I leaned forward, voice low but steady. Carl, I understand fear. But lies don't protect your family, they just make more problems for everyone. Not forgiveness. Not yet. but recognition. The villain wasn't the father unraveling on the stand, it was the woman who manipulated him into perjury. Judge Martinez turned her focus to Jennifer, who sat whispering furiously with her high-priced attorney. Mrs. Allen, this evidence suggests a pattern of intimidation and witness tampering well beyond HOA regulations. A full investigation will be ordered. The gavel fell. The restraining order remained in place. Jennifer couldn't harass us directly, but the war was far from over. Outside, the courthouse steps buzzed with whispers. Carl slunk out a side door, shoulders bent beneath the weight of shame. But in the parking lot, I caught sight of Jennifer intercepting him. She placed a hand on his shoulder, leaned in close, and whispered something only he could hear. Carl's face went pale, his posture collapsing even further. That wasn't comfort. That was control. Ray nudged me, eyes narrowing. That woman's not done with him. She's got something else, something worse than money. The next morning, Agnes arrived at our door with a manila envelope clutched to her chest. Her eyes were red, but her spine straighter than I'd ever seen. "I'm finished being Jennifer's spy," she said, voice steady. "Here's everything I've documented for months." On our kitchen table, the envelope spilled into an arsenal. Photographs of Jennifer's black book, receipts, metadata, bank slips, every lever of control cataloged like a dictator's war chest. Ray whistled low. "Chuck, she built herself a police state. Dirt on half the neighborhood. Money funneled into private enforcement, intimidation, surveillance. All of it with HOA funds." Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. A known number. The message turned my blood to ice. "Your wife works at that school, right? Public places can be so unpredictable." "Friend." Julia's face drained, then flushed with anger. Her teacher's instincts kicked in. "Chuck, my students, my colleagues." She was already calling the principal, securing the school. But I recognized the tactic instantly. I'd seen it overseas, terror campaigns meant to make civilians feel helpless. Psychological warfare. Julia documented everything. Screenshots, recordings, the digital footprint of Jennifer's escalation. "This isn't just about us anymore," she said, jaw set. "She's threatening children now." Ray's cop instinct surged. This isn't random harassment. It's targeted. Somebody's been tracking Julia's schedule. He was already on the phone, pulling strings with law enforcement. School threats drew federal eyes. Jennifer may have finally crossed the line into outright criminal territory. Then the call came. A known number. A gravelly voice. "Chuck Morgan? This is Greg Lamb. We need to talk about our mutual Jennifer problem." We met at a Denny's, neutral ground. Greg stepped from a gray pickup, Marine Corps tattoo faded on his forearm, a limp betraying old battles. His handshake was brief, hard, cautious. "She told people I died in a training accident," Greg said flatly as we Saturday, easier than admitting she drove away another military man. He slid a thick folder across the table. 15 years of evidence, bank statements, phone logs, emails. Jennifer had siphoned money from joint accounts, funding private investigators, compliance consultants, and legal intimidation squads. All with funds Greg was forced to contribute through their divorce. But the real bombshell was Greg's phone. He played a recording. Jennifer's voice, slurred with alcohol, filled the greasy booth. "Greg, you bastard. I'll destroy anyone who reminds me of you. Military types think they're so tough. I hired those compliance idiots to teach that SEAL's wife a lesson. She deserved it for filming me. A drunk confession. Conspiracy. Assault. She calls every month when she's drunk," Greg explained grimly. "Threats. Control. I started recording 2 years ago. Couldn't stay silent after what she did to Julia." Then he slid another phone across. "Text messages. G, time for phase 3. You know what to do. J, already in motion." Greg's face darkened. Phase 3 wasn't my idea, it was always hers. The school threat? That's just the start. The pieces snapped into place. Jennifer wasn't just a tyrant drunk on HOA power. She was escalating into something darker, domestic terrorism dressed in suburban clothes. "And Carl?" Greg showed me photographs, Carl with Jennifer's private investigator, signing papers in her kitchen, taking cash. She didn't just leverage his debt, Greg said. She made him her spy. Personal info, family routines, vulnerabilities. That's why he looked so terrified after court. He wasn't just lying for her. He'd been betraying everyone for months. As Greg handed me a USB drive, his voice dropped. Phase 3 is already live. And trust me, it's worse than anything we've seen. That evening, Julia and I spread the evidence across our table: assault videos, bank slips, drunk confessions, surveillance records. It was enough to bury Jennifer legally. But the unanswered question loomed. What exactly was Phase 3? We didn't have long to wonder. The community center that night was packed. Standing room only. Neighbors crammed shoulder to shoulder, faces flushed with anger, fear, and resolve. This wasn't a sleepy HOA meeting about sprinklers. This was democracy rising against tyranny. Julia and I arrived early, old military instincts. Secure the terrain before the battle. The room vibrated with fury. I stepped to the podium, evidence in hand, and briefed them like a commander exposing an enemy threat. Julia's assault video lit up the screen. Gasps echoed as neighbors watched her attacked for filming enforcers. Murmurs of rage spread like wildfire. Then Agnes's black book, projected huge. Names, debts, vulnerabilities. People pointed, recognized their own lives catalogued and exploited. Mrs. Rodriguez shot to her feet. That woman fined me for flag height while spying on my divorce. Ray followed, methodical, precise. Neighbors, Jennifer Allen diverted over $15,000 of your dues into private enforcement, surveillance, and intimidation. She weaponized your money against you. The room erupted. This wasn't fear anymore. It was fury. And Jennifer Allen had no idea the storm about to hit her. The screen glows with damning evidence, bank transfers, receipts, and contracts that prove Jennifer turned community funds into her private army's war chest. But the real bombshell drops when Greg's recording plays. Jennifer's drunk confession fills the community center, her voice slurred but unmistakable. I hired those compliance idiots to teach that SEAL's wife a lesson. Military types think they're tough, but everyone breaks if you apply enough pressure. The room freezes. You could hear a pin drop before the fury erupts. Mrs. Chen leaps up, fist raised. She extorted $500 from me over a purple mailbox while plotting assaults on families. Even Mr. Martinez, normally silent, rises, voice shaking with rage. This woman turned our neighborhood into her personal dictatorship. The suburban politeness shatters. The crowd is a storm now. Mrs. Patterson, the quiet vice president who's been documenting Jennifer's abuses for months, seizes the microphone. By our bylaws, any motion supported by 20% must be considered immediately. I call for a vote of no confidence in Jennifer Allen. Hands shoot up like popcorn kernels bursting. The result is brutal. 52 votes to remove her, 1 abstention from the new guy, and exactly 1 vote in her favor, her own. Jennifer grabs the mic, mask gone, voice raw with rage. You have no idea what you're doing. I built this community. Without me, property values will crash, crime will skyrocket. You need me. Security moves in, but she twists free, eyes blazing. You think this solves anything? Chuck Morgan, you have no idea what I've set in motion. Phase 3 doesn't need HOA authority. I have resources you can't imagine. The crowd erupts in panic. Neighbors shout questions, demand answers. Ray rallies volunteers to guard families with kids, while Mrs. Patterson bangs her gavel to restore order. Leadership shifts fast. Chuck as interim president, Agnes as liaison, Ray as security coordinator. Applause roars, but unease lingers. That's when my phone buzzes. A text freezes my blood. Your wife teaches at Sunset Elementary, right? Kids are so vulnerable at 3:15 dismissal. A friend. I show Julia and Ray. The color drains from their faces. Phase 3 has already begun. Agnes sobs, admitting she once helped Jennifer collect neighbors' schedules. I never thought she'd target children. Ray takes charge, his police instincts sharp. Threatening schools puts this in federal territory. Jennifer's crossed into domestic terrorism. And then Greg arrives, face pale, phone trembling in his hands. He shows me a message Jennifer sent an hour earlier, Phase 3 activated. School security is weaker than they think. Remember our talk about maximum impact? This ends tomorrow. But the threat is real. The celebration is over. The courthouse is packed. Neighbors, cameras, reporters. Jennifer Allen has gone from suburban tyrant to national headline. Ray presents our case like a seasoned cop. Julia's assault video, Agnes's black book with metadata, and Greg's confession recording. Greg takes the stand. I was married to Jennifer for 15 years. This isn't new, it's who she is. Intelligent, manipulative, dangerous. His words carry the weight of a survivor. Jennifer's drunken confession plays again for the jury. She admits everything: assault orders, Carl's manipulation, Phase 3 plans. The jury leans in, scribbling notes. Her lawyer flails. Jennifer herself takes the stand, against advice, and unravels. I was protecting property values. Chuck Morgan thinks military service exempts him from community rules. Her hatred spills into the open. Ray dismantles her. People protecting property values don't hire assault teams. He lifts the bank records. They don't threaten elementary schools. He holds up the text. And they don't record themselves confessing to conspiracy. Jennifer sputters. Then the bailiff hands Judge Martinez a note. Her face hardens. Mrs. Allen, digital forensics have traced the Sunset Elementary threat to your personal cell phone. These charges now include terroristic threats against an educational institution. The courtroom gasps. Jennifer snaps. That wasn't me. Greg framed me. She thrashes as bailiffs restrain her. But the evidence is undeniable. Judge Martinez's voice is firm. This court finds you guilty of harassment, intimidation, assault by proxy, witness tampering, and terroristic threats. You are sentenced to probation, restitution, community service, mandatory mental health treatment, and a lifetime ban from HOA leadership. Jennifer collapses as the gavel falls. Outside, Ray pulls me aside. I need to tell you something. That school threat traced to Jennifer's phone? I sent it. After she messaged Greg, I used her confiscated phone to send it to you. Sometimes justice needs a push. She threatened kids. She needed to face consequences. I stare at him, then grin. Ray, remind me never to cross you. We laugh, and for once, it feels like release. That night, our neighborhood breathes again. I'm grilling burgers, Julia's leading games with the kids, Agnes is laughing with real friends, even Carl shows up to apologize. Jennifer's house sits dark, a sold sign planted in the yard. On our porch, Julia leans into me, watching kids play safely in yards no longer under surveillance. The sprinklers shimmer like rainbows, and our flag waves proudly, not because Jennifer demanded it, but because it means something real again. Think we'll ever go back to normal suburban drama? She asks. I chuckle. With neighbors like ours, there's never going to be a dull moment. But at least it'll be honest drama. Justice served. Community healed. Jennifer Allen defeated. But as a moving truck unloads at her old house, boxes marked security equipment and private property signs, I can't help but wonder. A new story is about to begin. If this tale of suburban justice got your blood pumping, smash that like button and let me know in the comments what your wildest neighborhood drama has been. Until next time, this is Tale Time saying goodbye. And remember, sometimes the quiet suburbs hide the loudest secrets.